What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one, I'm going to be talking about the one and only Tesla stock, what you should be looking after for the future. I'm also going to break down some very important information about Tesla that may affect the share price for tomorrow and the upcoming week, as we had GDP that came out and it was not necessarily good, but then we had earnings that came out and they were actually very, very good. Now, we also have PCE coming out for tomorrow, so I'm going to actually talk about that. I also have one tweet from the man, the myth, the legend himself, Elon Musk, that I also want to talk about. Now, I have a lot of things I want to talk about in this video, but before I get started, I do have to mention a couple of things real quick. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner. Don't take any of this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire Tesla community as a whole. And the last things, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, and deposit $100 into the account, you're guaranteed up to 10 free stocks, each worth up to $2,500. And you could always sell these 10 free stocks for cash and use that cash to buy some Tesla shares for free. This is a limited time offer. It ends in just 3 days, so please check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So today was an absolutely crazy day. All right, I warned you guys about something important, and my warning was correct. GDP came out negative. GDP fell 0.9% in the second quarter. This means, and don't listen to what mainstream outlets are trying to say as they try to sugarcoat the situation, we are in a technical recession, or at least we were in the first half, and it does look like we may already still be in one. So don't listen to other mainstream outlets out there saying that unemployment is going to be the determiner of whether or not we're in recession. That's not necessarily the case. The truth is, a dictionary definition recession would be 2 negative GDP quarters. That's what we're seeing. There's a risk of unemployment going up later on based off the layoffs we're potentially seeing, and we are seeing the real estate market being disrupted as we're seeing supply chains go up. Real estate is going up because the demand is not necessarily there. So yes, this is a recession. Don't listen to what many people out there are trying to say, whether they're from the White House or not. We technically were in one. But despite that, it's so strange. Okay, the news comes out. I thought that the market might actually take a bit of a hit because of this, and I wasn't 100% sure. I did talk about how there were some technicals looking bullish, but at the same time, I was worried that the news could have caused the market to tank, which is why I was trying to prepare you guys for that. Instead, the market didn't care. It just continued to rally. And it's looking like the market's kind of in this mini squeeze like event right now, and the whole market is almost squeezing. And the squeeze event was being led by Tesla and the SPY. And I think it was Tesla that was really holding up the SPY today. I mean, Tesla did very, very well. And it's looking like we're going to continue to see this. Now, there are other indications of that. There are more indications of that we're going to continue to see the rally for SPY, for Tesla. But there is one thing tomorrow that concerns me that may maybe like slow us down a bit or even cause something different. And it really is just a matter of interpretation from the markets, because the market makers are masters of manipulation. You guys have to be prepared for this. They are going to get everyone hyped up. They're going to push the market up maybe for another week. Who knows how long? But we have these gaps down here. Eventually, the SPY is going to come down. Maybe not tomorrow, but maybe later on. The same with Tesla. Yeah, Tesla is doing very well right now. It does look like it may actually continue to rally. But remember, we have gaps down here. So eventually it probably is going to tank when you least expect it. And this is just the trick that the market makers are playing. There's another gap down here too. So I'm not saying these gaps have to get filled tomorrow or even next week, right? They may take some time to get filled, but I just want to warn you guys that yes, it's fun to see Tesla push up like this, but eventually it most likely will come down when you least expect it. Now, when it comes to this push that we're getting from Tesla, we're testing these key resistance levels. And when we tested many times, what happened historically when the market was bullish, Tesla would test it, get rejected, test it, and then get rejected. And finally, it would break past this and then soar. So it might happen again tomorrow. We might see Tesla actually soar going into next week too. But there's one thing that concerns me. I'm going to show you exactly why. So the first reason as to why the market may soar tomorrow is because Amazon had their earnings and they killed it. They did very well. They beat almost all expectations. They beat on revenue, and Amazon did rally because of this news. If I actually go down right here, their EPS loss of 20 cents was basically expected. Their revenue was $121 billion versus the $119 billion expected. And please remember that inflation does affect these numbers, so they are kind of inflated, but expectations were adjusted for that, and yet they actually beat on that. Amazon Web Services also beat. Advertising, once again, another beat. Their revenue was up 7% in the second quarter, topping the estimates. So they did pretty well. I mean, I personally thought that it wouldn't have been that good because of the potential recession that we saw, right? And yet they did pretty well. So it's very, very interesting. It looks like we are, or we were, in a paper recession. But as of right now, there will be substantial effects that come later. But so far, it's not reflecting in earnings the way I once or many investors would have thought it would have. When it comes to Apple, check this out right here. Apple also beat on revenue and profits to our surprise. I mean, like I told you guys yesterday, I was a little bit concerned about this because we know that demand slows down during recessions. As the federal funds rate goes up, it slows down demand in our economy. And yet, it did not affect Apple that much. They actually beat on expectations, and they have a very good history of just beating and beating and beating. The supply chain constraints did not affect them as well or as much as some people would have thought. And you could see earnings per share. They got $1.20 versus the $1.16 estimate. They are a little bit down 8% year over year, but the expectations were adjusted for the change, and yet they managed to beat. When it comes to revenue, 83 billion versus the 82.81 billion, they're actually up 2% year over year. Pretty good. iPhone revenue was also good. The only just a couple of these sectors were down, like Mac revenue, but basically everything else was good. Gross margin was up about 43.26% versus the 42.61% estimate. They did very good, in my opinion, considering the circumstances the market was in. I'm proud of them. Now, this doesn't necessarily, mean we're not in a recession because earnings are good. We definitely were in one for the first half, and we most likely are still in one right now. But earnings are not really reflecting it to the degree I would have thought. So these things could boost the market for tomorrow. Tesla's already up another 1% in the after hours. So is almost the entire market. So once again, the market's responding pretty positively to these earnings. But there is one thing that concerns me for tomorrow. And this is where my warning comes. And that's because of the PCE report that's coming out. Now, Jerome Powell did mention that, in his opinion, PCE is better at capturing the inflation people suffer in their lives. And in my opinion, this is also what's being used by the Fed. The Fed looks at PCE in a lot more detail, and this is why this is going to be important. But there is one concerning detail. That's the fact that when you look at PCE, I think I have a better chart that's a little bit closer. The PCE report is tomorrow at 8:30 a.m., right? But it's going to be for the month of June. And if I actually go right here, you could see PCE has been declining for the last couple of months, and it does not weigh in energy the way CPI does, which is why it's a lot lower. So I want to see the trend continue to go down. And what concerns me is for the month of June, for the month of June, uh, inflation probably would have gone up as we saw CPI go up. We saw certain sectors go up as well. So I'm a little bit concerned about that. Now, when it comes to the consensus, we are estimating it to be about 4.7%. If it is like a little bit higher, let's just say it's like 4.8%, 4.9%, or even 5%, there's a risk that this may cause the market to actually take a slight hit. I can't guarantee that though, but it's a possibility. If we meet expectations, if it comes out at 4.7% or lower, the market could still rally off that news and still be completely fine. So that's the only risk I really see for tomorrow. Otherwise, the market from a technical standpoint still looks strong. And at the same time, we saw bad news come for the markets, and yet the market didn't care. It continued to rally. So sometimes the market is like something you see out of the matrix. It's very vacuous and unpredictable sometimes. So maybe PC doesn't affect us that much, but it is something I want to warn you guys about. Now, from a technical standpoint, considering that earnings were very good, from a technical standpoint, the market looks a lot better than before. So looking at SPY, if I look at the daily chart, check this out right over here. The SPY is looking very strong right now. Now, there could be fake outs. I'm well aware of that. I know that they like to fake us out. But so far, what you're seeing is the SPY is continuing to just rally and rallying. It's looking like we're seeing a squeeze like event, and we're about to get that 1348 EMA crossover, which is actually a very bullish signal for SPY. You can see historically when we get those 1348 crossovers like this, the SPY would just continue to rally from there, and we could see it again right over here when the SPY got it way down here back in like 2021. The SPY would just rally off of those. So this is just a very bullish indicator out there. This doesn't mean the SPY is going to go to all-time highs, but it is possible for the SPY to actually push up even more from where it is right now. And it does look like we're about to get that crossover. It's super, super close. We are green in the after hours too, so be prepared for that. Now, the reason I'm bringing up the SPY is because the SPY represents the market as a whole, and the market is moving very collectively. For the NASDAQ, very similar story. I don't know if we got the crossover yet. And you could see right here on the NASDAQ, we actually got a 1348 EMA crossover. So that's another very bullish indicator right there. The Nasdaq really ran today, and it looks like it has more room to continue running. So tomorrow it looks more bullish than bearish from just a technical standpoint based off earnings too. And because of that, it does look like Tesla is kind of moving with the markets as well. In fact, it's kind of dictating the markets. We still have this 1348 EMA cross on the daily. Tesla's continuing to push up, and it seems like it's more likely to be more bullish than bearish now. So once again, PCE does concern me a bit. I mean, that could cause the market to take a bit of a hit. Tesla also has these gaps down here, but as of right now, it still looks bullish. We're not seeing signs of it kind of tanking from now. And it looks like it might actually have more room during this squeeze-like event. So with that said, how high is this thing going to go to? Well, we have to go back to the chart from before to really draw this out. So if I actually zoom out just a little bit, you could see just like this, Tesla has a gap right here at around that $858 range. So if this thing does manage to break these key resistance levels, it could actually fill the gap up there to about 858 very soon. And if we manage to do that, the next key zone I'm going to look out for, and let me actually draw this out for you as a horizontal line. If we break 858, I'm going to be looking out for that 880 range around there. So that's another very key zone. And if we break that, then obviously 900 is another psychological level. So I'm going to point that out too. Could we see Tesla go that high? I mean, it's possible, very, very possible from here. And it seems quite likely we might actually see this thing fill the gap up to about 858. So that's essentially what I think this thing is set to do. Now, remember, there are traps in the market. The market makers like to trick retail investors. This thing is going to come down eventually. But as of right now, I'm not seeing signs of that just yet. It looks more like it's going to continue to push to the upside. So with that said, tomorrow it might actually fill this gap at around $858. The gap is like way back here. It was many, many months ago, somewhere like over here. I'm looking at the 2-hour candles, and you could see this was actually back around, I think that's May of 2022. So yeah, many months ago, we had this gap that formed around 858. We might actually fill that gap tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that. I expect crazy volatility from the very beginning, and we might see this thing just continue to push from there. So like I said before, PCE is the only thing that concerns me. The whole market could react to that. But other than that, I mean, from a technical standpoint, it looks kind of bullish. So let me actually bring up my 5-minute candles and then draw out my prediction. And then I'm going to also warn you guys about support and resistance levels, because predictions are not always going to be right. The market can be super unpredictable sometimes. Sometimes it makes moves when you don't even expect them. So looking at the chart like this, what I think could end up happening for tomorrow is expect a very nice move from open. Tesla might just push like crazy. It looks very strong. I mean, it might actually fill the gap into just the first few minutes of the day at around that 858 range. We could see this thing pushed around 860, maybe even higher than that, 875. So let's just say this thing goes as high as maybe like 860, 865. We could get a rejection off that and kind of hold this range for some time. And if we are still testing around that $840 level, we should have support around that range, 840 to 830. So if the market does start to tank as the day goes on a bit, Tesla will probably tank with it. If not, this thing should actually hold these levels. And because of the SPY looking so bullish, it seems more likely Tesla's going to hold these levels, and it may end up closing closer to that 858 to 860 range. So I'm predicting we're very likely to see a more bullish move from Tesla like this, and should hold these levels. Now, remember, let's just say PCE comes out, it's really bad, and the market somehow ends up reacting to that. But the problem with that is that's kind of like old data. We have seen inflation kind of come down since then, as we've seen gas prices drop. So I mean, I don't really think the market's going to tank because of that, but in case it does happen out of nowhere, in case something happens, be on the lookout for these levels. So we have resistance for Tesla around that 850 range. I mean, I don't see it as being super strong resistance since we have a gap. 858 is the gap. 880 is a key zone, and then 900 is going to be another very key zone for Tesla. Now, if Tesla were to drop, right, 840 as of right now is kind of like a support zone. It's not really that strong since we barely broke above that area just today. Then look out for 830. And if we can't hold 830, this thing's going to come all the way down. It may even tank back down to 800. And if 800 doesn't hold, then we're going to come all the way down to that 780 to 776 range as our next support level. So these are the key levels to look out for. Please be prepared for anything. And once again, I am anticipating a move kind of like this. Tesla does still look bullish. It does look like it's going to continue to run. That's essentially what I'm predicting. But be ready for anything, especially as PCE is coming out for tomorrow. With that said and done, the last thing I want to talk about is what Elon Musk put on his Twitter page. And Musk tweeted that all Teslas come with a free karaoke app. Once again, very cool. I think I love the customer service of Tesla. I think that as time goes on, their deliveries are going to keep on growing thanks to this amazing customer service. I think Elon Musk loves to listen to customers, so there are very, very amazing quirks in these cars that just make people excited. We love the technology, and I think as years go on, the technology will keep on improving. The full self-driving technology will get better. Their cars will get better. We'll see better battery performances, and I just can't wait for what the future holds. So for the short term, just to warn everyone, all right? The market's kind of like squeezing right now. We're seeing really, really nice moves. Tesla's probably going to continue to push up, but going forward, we have gaps down here. It's eventually going to come back down, all right? In the next, I don't know, within the next like month or two, it is going to most likely come down. And even though that's the case, for the upcoming years, I'm still very bullish. I think the market is going to be very good for the United States. I think big companies out there like Apple and Amazon and Tesla are going to have very prosperous futures in the upcoming years. So just remain calm, cool, and collected. Be cool. Remember these key support and resistance levels and watch your indicators. Let the indicator tell you what to do. Don't really go chasing. All right. So thank you. Thank you for listening. Have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Tesla to the moon, and peace out.